Good morning, good morning, good morning. I flawed first thing this morning. How is everyone? And a slow response from the computer. Good morning, welcome to Prep News. It's Monday, beautiful Monday. Outstanding weather today. Sun is out, the birds chirping. What more can you ask for, man? Today's guest, he's made countless appearances on Off the Bench Sports and Prep News. Uh, he's a innovator. He's a brand builder. Um, he's a guy that's given so much to his community and the youth in his community. Uh, the the fact that he thinks that he's a hooper, uh, that's the part that bothers us. That's the part that bothers those that know him really well, is that he still thinks that in his late 30s he's Steph Curry or somebody. You guys already seen him, so let's just bring him back in, man. Please welcome uh, UL's finest, UL's current leader in three point shooting or 3 point field goal percentage or hooping the ball underhanded from the free throw line. Please welcome Brad Boyd. What's up, Brad?
Nothing much, nothing much. I tell all the kids, man, the most makes and the most attempts. If you ain't shooting, you got no chance of making or missing. You got to fire them up.
Right. That's the rule and not the exception. Uh, man, it's been a minute. Been a minute. Welcome back. Oh man, I, I when I think about Brad Boyd basketball and how far Brad Boyd basketball has come. Uh, when you started Brad Boyd basketball, what was your intent in it?
Well, you know, I was trying, for a few weeks or a few months before I came up with, establishing a website. It was uh, just to figure out where to go with everything. Where could people go to find their basketball needs in the area that I'm in, Acadiana area, or the state of Louisiana, if you happen to be within driving distance, So this started out with basketball camps right as I got out of college, playing ball with basketball camps or whatnot. And then eventually into training kids. I was already in the AAU basketball with Acadiana Stars basketball, which kind of my in-laws, my mother-in-law, my wife ran that program, which we helped them build. As far as the AU side or boys side and stuff like that, girls was already established with Acadiana Stars, had a great program. Numerous Division I players came from Acadiana Stars program early from the as far back as the early '90s, all the way through the 2000s. Uh, and then when I came into the family, married into the family, I wanted to start the boys side. They actually had a brother in the Broadhead side of the family that was coming up through high school. So we started an AAU team for the boys side with him. And that's kind of established boys AAU for Acadiana Stars. And then eventually was like, wanted to do my own thing, wanted to put my name on something. And, so the whole idea of Brad Boyd basketball camp with, training kids, camps, and then eventually read it to AAU. So now with the AAU thing, um, when people see the jerseys or see my kids in the gyms, who they play for. They play for Brad Boyd basketball. Next thing you know, people are going to the website. So it was a whole idea to link everything in to get people to go to your website, see what Brad Boyd basketball is all about. And generate content, generate new clients. We train kids weekly. We have almost 7 to 8 basketball camps throughout the year, a bunch in the summer, all the breaks throughout the school breaks. We have camps now with the AAU teams and stuff. So it just all falls into one big basketball, website where you can find anything you need in my area as far as dealing with basketball, from little kids to junior high kids, high school kids. Even Saturday morning we trained in Malik Wilson, the University of Houston guard, from Louisiana, Gatorade Player of the Year in Louisiana, passing through Lafayette. Me and Malik have a good relationship. We wanted to get a workout in, and we got it in. He didn't like me at the beginning, man. I tweaked the shot a little bit, was telling him some fundamental things to work on his shooting, which is not one of Malik's strong points. His athleticism is getting to the goal, and it's really a strong point. So he wanted to work. He came in and said, "Coach, I want to work on some shooting stuff, my weaknesses." And anytime you get somebody to come in like that to really work on their weaknesses, you got something good. And so that's just one random thing happened on a Saturday. My weekdays are so busy dealing with basketball. It's kind of like my life. Basketball is life, and it's what I enjoy to do. I use the statement all the time, man. I'm not digging ditches. I'm in the air condition, teaching and preaching what I love. So that's kind of Brad Boy basketball in a nutshell. Everything dealing with basketball that you can help the youth, help the community, and that's where we at with it right now.
Right. Do you remember what? I know it's been some years ago, but just trying to show a pattern of where you came from in hosting your first camp versus
Oh yeah, man.
how far you've come.
That's a Yeah, we came a long way, man. Our first camp, my first camp I did out of high school, out of finished playing college ball. I thought, oh yeah, Brad Boyd, I'm gonna just put my name out there. People just gonna show up, walk up registration. And me and a good friend of mine, Cal Davis. Yeah, go ahead. Cal Davis. We started our own thing. We called it Boyd Davis Basketball Camp, and camp day comes around. We get to camp, and 4 people at the camp, and 2 of them were the coach's kids that let us use Acadiana High School's gym, and 2 other kids just walked up and wanted to come to the camp. So me and my guy Kyle, man, we did a camp for 4 days with 4 kids. And, when the camp ended, we kind of looked at each other like, oh, I don't know, and we already had another camp scheduled about 3 weeks, after this one. So we're like, well, maybe we need to advertise a little more. And that's what we did. Went to the newspapers and kind of, word of mouth, said we're doing another camp. We switched locations to Beauchamp High School, and we had 60 kids show up 3 weeks later, from 4 kids to 60 kids, and we made that camp really fun. And then my guy Kyle, he moved away, man. He went to California, so I wanted to continue the camps and stuff, so I switched the name of the camp to Brad Boyd Shoot the Rock Basketball Camps. We found the new spot to do the camps. Ascension Episcopal opened the doors to us downtown. So we hosted a camp over there, and then next thing you know, every camp had 80, 90 kids at it. And then eventually we got into the Youngsville Sports Complex, which is a great location in Youngsville. It's 2 full-size gyms that could open up into 4 mini floors, mini courts. Allowed us to have up to 100 kids now per week at our camp. So I tell people all the time, they say, man, I want to do a camp, or I want to start this, or whatever you start and whatever you're doing, you have to do the first one. You have to get established. People want to say the first annual, but we all know it's inaugural. So the inaugural Boyd Davis camp had 4 people. The very next one had 60. And then after that, we never looked back. We've been 70 to 100 kids every time we have a basketball camp. And I pride myself in my camps, man. I tell parents all the time, we teach the kids a few things, but at the same time, we have a lot of fun at camp. I mean, Hobart's been to my camps before. We break down. We have dance contests. We have money shoot, players versus coaches, shooting competitions. So it ain't all just, screaming, hollering, instructing on kids of, and taking the fun out of it. A basketball camp is supposed to be learned. Supposed to come in and get some knowledge and learn some stuff. But man, like any kid that can't come to my basketball camp for a week and not have fun, that's not what we're trying to do. We want to make sure the kids have fun, as well as learning some of the, basketball knowledge along the way.
Right. I definitely have, seen the magic that's called Brad Boyd basketball camps, and you work with multiple age groups. You work with multiple age groups. Did you ever see yourself being in a place and space where you had 4, 5, and 6-year-olds coming to camps and actually being able to pick up on the different skill sets that you're teaching?
Yeah, that's a. I had to relocate. It was getting a little loud in the gym, but yeah, what you're saying about listen, we started doing our. Man, I have a 5-year old. Can he come? Normally, we started our camps at 8 years old, 8 years old or 15-year-olds. Kind of like how our biddy league is set up with 7 and 8-year-olds, 9 and 10, 11 and 12, and so forth. They had so many kids that wanted to get into basketball and at a younger age, kindergartners, first grade, pre-K going to kindergarten. So I said, you know what, let's open it up. And some people that do camps and they bring in the little kids, the 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, it's more like a daycare. You just
Right.
watching them, they just drop them off. We kind of take pride into really getting them to do the same things that the older kids do. So when we start our camps, everybody's in their stretch lines. It's like a basketball practice. The little kids are in the front, and as they get a little older, they move towards the back lines. At first I thought it was gonna be a little difficult, but man, I'm telling you, the 5 and 6-year-olds, they, when you have them, when you are in control. And I'm not a control freak. I'm just saying when I'm in control of my camp, when I'm on that microphone, I have control. I demand that they're listening. We start off with a 2 claps little drill. Kids love that. Give me 2 claps, 2 claps. Give me a Ric Flair. We start off our camp with uh, not being afraid to talk, not being shy. You got to get that out of the kids. Be able to yell in the gym, scream. We have a rebound where we yell ah. We got to take a charge where we say oh. Defense, you yell defense. 2 claps, you yell 2 claps. We give me a Ric Flair, you better say woo as loud as you can, or Coach Boyd's gonna call you out and make you do it in front of the camp by yourself. So it's easier just to jump on board with it. But the 5 and 6-year-olds, man, they pick up, they love the drills.
Yeah.
And anytime, this is my favorite thing about camp. And from the 5 and 6-year-olds, they love it the best. And this is the impact. We could get into that later or talk in a different discussion. The impact of NBA YoungBoy that he has on people. We saw John Morant. We saw all this stuff going on, but he has a huge impact on little kids with the gritty dance. The song that they play where the kids do the little gritty dance, and you put that song on, and they love it. They start dancing across the floor. So anytime we need a little break or a little hype session, we pause the camp, we press play on the speakers, play the gritty dance, and the little 5-year-olds go. They're not, once they get that dance out the way, they're not shy anymore. Now my older kids, they get a little shy. They don't want to do too much. But the little kids, once they do the gritty dance, they're locked in. Anything after that, they'll do whatever Coach Brad says. As long as I play that gritty dance once a day and let them dance a little bit, they bought in. They're good to go at the camp. So I had a kid's mama yesterday tell me, he's going to sign up for the rec league, in our rec biddy basketball league. We have over 1,200 kids. We have over 100 teams. And he said, though, he's not playing for anybody but you. I said, I can't coach all the teams, I don't know, Brad. He said, he's only going to play in that league if you're the coach, So, and this little kid's like a phenomenal. He's like into MMA. He's into jiu-jitsu. He's 5 years old. And he's like, I check out his YouTube videos and I'm like, oh my God. Every little kid that he wrestles or jiu-jitsu is against, they start crying, and he just slams them to the floor. And he's 5 years old. It's pretty amazing. But and we call him Mohawk. He shows up to camp. He's got a blue or green Mohawk he wears every day. He's wild, but I love him, and he wants me to be the coach. And I really take pride in that, man, having an impact on, over the last 15 to 20 years after my playing career was over in Lafayette. I really took pride of giving back to the kids, man. And I'm not saying this to brag or anything. I can go to any gym in the Acadiana area, pretty much around the state. I'm going to see a little kid that I know that I can talk to from basketball or whatever, from whether it be AAU teams or camps or anything. And I take a lot of pride in that, of talking to those little kids and make sure they remember Brad Boyd. And I'm going to remember them as well, because the kids are the future, regardless of we talking about camps or future players or whatever, people that are going to run our communities and our schools and stuff. So I take a lot of pride on shaking people's hands, shaking little kids' hands, getting to know who they are, and making sure they remember.
Man, you guys, and I thought that this was really big. You guys integrated biddy basketball into the Acadiana area. And this year, again, you guys hosted one of the age divisions of the Biddy National Tournament. What's that like for you guys, and how much effort goes into making that event beautiful for every participant?
It's a Acadiana Biddy basketball. We can't go without mentioning my wife's name, Blair Broadhead Boyd. She's She is the backbone. She is the director. She is everything to Acadiana Biddy. Once her mother, Andrea Broadhead, passed away 8 years ago, Biddy was kind of in limbo of what was going to happen, who was going to run it. And my wife, Blair, she stepped up to the plate. And, over a matter of 2-3 years, she grew the Biddy program from 300, 400 kids to 1,200 kids, utilizing the Youngsville Sports Complex. And, we kind of laugh, we hosted a national tournament with 20, 25 teams, and the Biddy people, oh, is everything okay? Are y'all going to be able to handle this? Are y'all going to be able to organize everything? And me and my wife, Blair, I'm looking at Blair and I'm like, they must not know that every weekend of our Biddy basketball program, there's 100 teams. So you got to schedule 100 teams every weekend. It's nothing to schedule 20, 25 teams and make something like a national tournament for Biddy go. But, my wife takes a lot of pride in making sure that everything is, up to par. It's well organized, goes above and beyond on buying. Everybody says, oh, everybody gets a trophy this. Well, my wife makes sure that the trophies are legit. Extra trophies. We give away Andrea Broadhead Legacy Awards during our national Biddy tournaments. We give the Furman Sims Award, who was the founder of Biddy. We do a lot of extra awards for not even for the players. We like to recognize coaches or team managers or the directors of these other biddies that do a good job, that we see that they're doing great for their community and their bidding. We like to recognize them too. And it's not about I need pats on the back or nothing like that. It's just to recognize, hey, look, man, this person or this kid is doing a great job for his team, his community. We have even the Mason Dotree Smile Award, which is a kid that played in our league that went through some troubles with his illness and sickness, who battled and overcame. And, now he presents an award to the next kid that's always smiling and stuff like that. So it's just the extra stuff. I tell people all the time, you can do anything you want. You can have a camp, a tournament, and you could do it plain Jane, or you can spend a little more money, invest a little more time, and make it what it is. And that's what we chose to do with Brad Boy basketball. That's what we chose. My wife chose to do with Acadiana Biddy basketball. I mean, we literally live streamed every game in the national tournament this year. I don't think that's ever been done before. The guy that does our regular yearly live streams for our year-to-year, our day-to-day regular season, he was able to come in and do our national tournament as well. So people, even if they couldn't make the tournament, they lived in New Orleans or Patterson or down the bayou, they were able to tune in and check out those games. A lot of people not doing it. A lot of people not going to spend money to go and live stream games because most people are trying to throw tournaments to make money and have a national tournament to make all this money. Yeah, it's great to make money on events and tournaments and camps, but I always say this: if you can make 15,000, or you can make 10,000 and spend an extra 5 on making it fun, making the trophies a little bit bigger, making the more awards. You need to do those things, man. It's not always all about the money, man. And people tell me, oh, Brad, you this and that, you make all this money. I hustle though. I work. I go and get it. But at the same time, we spend a lot of money to make it better than the next person. And that's my advice, about anything you do, is just to do it the right way and don't be afraid. Don't be cheap. Don't take the cheap route, and don't try to make the max amount of money just thinking it's all about the money, because that's not the case. You're not going to be successful. You're going to cut corners, and then you're going to catch yourself like, oh, I wonder why it's not as good this year. Well, because people see through that. A lot of people are hosting these AAU tournaments. They're hosting tournaments and charging all this money to go to tournaments, but at the same time, it's running clock. It's this or that. They're taking all these rules to make the games fly by, and you're not giving to the kids. You're not giving a fair shot to the people, the fans that are paying money at the door. It's $15 a person to get in AAU tournaments now, and they get in the game, and their team might not be that good, so they get blown out, and they call the game, and the game's over within 20 minutes. It's just some things you have to do a little bit better and take a little more pride in doing it the right way.
Since you brought up AU tournament again, you mentioned this earlier. You guys have Acadiana Stars AU on the boys and girls side. When you look at all the kids that have come through Acadiana Stars Biddy program, what makes you the most proudest of the accomplishments and the growth that you see the kids gain, or the knowledge that they retain from year to year from the coaches you guys have coaching these teams?
Well, I'll tell you what, one thing that sticks out to my mind this year in general is that players like Greg Williams, Jalen Dalcourt, both who starred for the University of Louisiana, went to the NCAA tournament this year, brought a lot of excitement to the Lafayette area and to the Cajun Dome. Both those guys played Acadiana Biddy basketball. Now, we're not claiming that we made them who they are today, but they started playing basketball in Acadiana Biddy basketball. Greg Williams was part of our first ever national championship team when he was 10 years old. They went to Indianapolis and won the whole thing. They had a really, really good team that year, and just what they've done. Those two guys. If you watch those two guys in college this year, watch those guys on interviews and speaking, they turned out to be really, really good people. Not as well as basketball players, great basketball players, but the people that they become and just their work ethic and how they carry themselves. You're not going to see a Greg Williams or a Jalen Dalcourt flashing guns on videos. I know that their moms and dads have raised them extremely well, and they're going to do the right things all the time. We always asking Greg and Jalen and any other former players. We have the UL girls come by all the time that come to our biddy program, and it's amazing if you're a college basketball player how much impact you have. I don't care if you play at, I mean, you can name the smallest school in the world. It's a college school, and you come and talk to some kids that love basketball. They respect you. The impact you have on those kids is phenomenal. So you always got to mind your P's and Q's, especially when the camera's on, and make sure you're doing the right thing. Just as much as we tell all our players, and all coaches do this, I'm not the only person. There's always somebody watching. It don't matter if it's a scout, your mama, your daddy, your little brother, the little kid from up the street in your neighborhood. There's always somebody that's going to be watching and watching how you act. And, that's the biggest thing that you got to be mindful for. And the biggest thing that I really love from Jalen and Greg and several other, I mean, we have lists and lists of players that have come through our program. Not only that went on to play college basketball or even professional. Andrew Stevenson in the Major League Baseball, he's played in our biddy basketball program. There's several people, but also with that is several kids that have become up to be leaders in our community, politicians, business owners, lawyers, doctors. And it's fun. It's great to see, because those same people, they come back now and they coach their own kids in biddy. And it's funny to see one of my good friends. He's big time at walk-ons, the most nicest people. He's such a nice person. I mean, he is really nice. But when he comes coach basketball at Acadiana Biddy, he turns into the ultimate coach. I mean, he is really into the games. I never even heard him speak that much before. He's constantly speaking in the games, talking, screaming. And then when the game's over, he goes right back to that walk-ons executive, So it's just funny, man. Basketball in general just can bring a lot of people together, bring a lot of things together. And, it's basketball can connect you with the world. And that's what we try to do with Acadiana Biddy basketball, with Brad Boyd basketball, and anything that we doing with in the basketball world.
It's definitely someone always watching, and generally it's the kid that adores and admires you because you can't play, and you
Right.
must send the right message to these young kids that are watching your every step, every movement, every eye bat, every finger point, because they're taking a part of what you're doing and they're implementing that in their everyday life. Since we're here at AAU, I want to take this time to make a rant. So I'm watching the EYBL this weekend, session 3 in Dallas. I've always been a fan of AAU. This weekend, not so much. Like I have so much respect for someone who takes away from their own families and goes and pours into someone else's child, giving of themselves, their time. And a lot of people don't know this, but most of the time, coaches that coach these AAU programs be it big or small or circuit, they put some of their own money into these kids.
Mhm.
But what we gotta stop doing, my Eric Mays moment, we gotta stop doing this. We gotta stop doing it. We gotta stop letting these kids play any kind of way because we're afraid to lose them.
Yeah,
It's a
right.
reason.
I agree because I watched some of the clips this weekend too, and I'm just speaking on teams in general from what I saw. Not necessarily Louisiana teams or anybody like that, but uh, I think they need to practice more. I think they need to run more basketball stuff. To me, the game is it's all individualized, man, and
Right.
that's not what basketball is. You can't really see a kid that's out there doing his individual thing. To me, if I'm a college coach, I'm like, man, he's not going to be able to play on my team. You know, he might be great and he might be jump out the gym and whatever, but man, and I watched my daughter's team this weekend, and they're playing a little bit better. But it's like when they play team ball, they win, and when they play individualized ball, it looks terrible, and they don't win. You know, so I just think those AAU teams with those select kids, they should
Yeah.
practice more. That's my opinion. I think they should practice more and have more sets to go to, more stuff to run during the game. I don't give it. It doesn't matter how great you are. You still gotta. It's basketball. It's not just hey, go ahead and hoop. You know, and some teams do that and they get away with it because they might have a better five than you. But if you not always have the best five and you practice more, you
Well,
can win more games. And that's how I
well,
look
at,
at it.
at its best and at its worst, it's a team sport. At its best
Team, yep.
and at its worst, it's a team sport. But don't don't lose a game because a kid makes 7 mistakes and it's everybody's fault around him but his. And I was always told and taught the person who had the basketball last, if it's a turnover, it's your turnover because
Right.
either knew not to pass it or not to pass it to that person, even if he's wide open, because understand and comprehend that he's not going to catch the ball. Or,
Right.
like the last person is a person who gets the turnover. And so when you look at some of these guys that are playing on the Nike EYBL made hoop circuit, and you see these guys that are supposed to be the elite of the elite, and the point guard gets the ball, or the primary ball handler has the ball, and he beats the ball for three, on the 24-second clock. We're going to set 3 minutes of a 24-second clock. And then he wants to go downhill. Well, now you're in there with 6'10", 6'11" guys on the Nike circuit. And so now, unless you know how to jump stop and shoot the mid-range and get arc on the 15-foot shot, you're trapped because you went too far in the lane to kick it. And so just to lose and to continually lose, and then you as a head coach are blaming other kids who had nothing to do with the 30 shots that a kid took and went 4 for 16.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta stop doing that because
Or coach everybody the same. You can't pick and choose. Can't correct the 8th, 9th, 10th person all the time. But the number one guy's messing up a little bit. Man, sit him down,
right,
get his mind right. Can't be afraid. Like you said it earlier, you can't be afraid that they're gonna leave. They're gonna go play with somebody else.
Because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, the kid that's even on the Nike circuit, that's on the cusp, that's this close to being a superstar, and he sees, because it's not like from 7 to 12 and you show favoritism and kids don't understand what's going on. When they hit 13 and 14, they understand what favoritism looks like.
Oh yeah.
They understand it. They understand that, well, what is it saying? Damn, when they do it, it's fine, but when I do it, It's a problem. So a kid sees you let this guy turn the ball over, take bad shots, do this, and do this, and you say nothing but, Coach, why are you so hard on me? And I only did what I saw our leader doing. Oh, attitude reflects leadership. So you can't be mad at me for doing something that I see him doing. And so we, the stamp that we are putting on this game, because it's becoming a shooter's game and everybody wants to shoot. Can we work on that a little more? And not in practice, because you don't get better from the things you do in practice, be it school ball, be it AAU, be it circuit ball. You don't get better from the things that the coach has you doing in practice. You get better from the things you do home on your own when no one else is looking. And that's what I think that's what's lost and missing from today's inadventurous basketball that we see. Because I couldn't watch any more of the EYBL circuit. When I see 2017 kids that were phenomenal, and not just in the state of Louisiana, but across the country. When I see the 2020 kids that were phenomenal, not just in Louisiana, but across the country. Man, it's going to be 2024. Is this the year that we get basketball being played the right way again?
Well, it's all it falls all on the coaches, man. The kids are going to go out there and do what they want to do until they're told otherwise, So to me, like I said, it comes with just more practice and more authority over those guys. But it's a game, man. It's just like the transfer portal in college.
Can I say this without any coaches any summer coaches not ever talking to me again? Coaches, get some nuts.
I mean, shit, if they ruin themselves.
Coaches. Stop letting these kids run these
right. Yeah. Don't take offense.
Letting these kids run these
If you take offense, you're probably doing it the wrong way.
Do what you signed up to do. You signed up to be a coach, a mentor, a leader to these damn kids.
Right.
No and Nike just is too good of a brand to let these kids do anything on these Nike courts with the Jordan stamp on. Man, I think this one more thing I want to talk to you about, man, because I think that this is one of the most impressive things that I found about Brad Boy basketball, and that was you tried to create an event that resembles the top 28 in the process of trying to create this thing. You found success from putting together great matchups with the most competitive teams from October to January. How do you improve on that event?
Well, it's just like anything. Once we did the first one, people were, "What is this? What are you talking about? What are you, and that can't be done. You're not going to be able to afford to go rent the Cajun Dome out and this or that, and the LHSA can't do it in the Cajun Dome. How are you going to be able to do it?" And I just kept telling people, "Well, let me just worry about that. Let me use my resources. Let me get to the meat and potatoes of the issue, which is the cost of the whole thing. Which costs $20,000 plus every year we try to do this. So once we did the first one, got it done." Shout out to all the sponsors. Shout out to everybody that comes together to make this happen. We improved each year on it. It's a timing issue. It depends on the date of the actual event, whether we follow UL basketball or we have the gym to ourselves that day, have the Cajun Dome to ourselves. And it's all about the matchups. St. Thomas More has been gracious that Danny Broussard wants to play in the event every year. He feels like it helps his team get an advantage of an extra game inside the Cajun Dome, inside the big arena, like, a state semifinal or a state championship game. So he plays in it every year. He's 4-0. It's funny, though, because me and Danny laugh, and I tell him, who's he going to play against? Oh, man, Brad, that team, was Madison Prep one year. It was New Iberia last year, and somebody else the year before that was really good, but he hadn't lost yet. He's 4-0 in the Cajun Dome. We're really trying to have this St. Thomas More, Danny Broussard, Peabody, Coach Smith matchup this year. I'm working out the details right now. You got two Hall of Fame coaches, the two top winningest high school coaches in the state of Louisiana, both top 10 nationally in high school basketball wins. To me, that would be a great matchup. I was fortunate enough when I played at STM to play against Coach Smith and Peabody 2 years in a row in the high school playoffs. Great atmospheres. Both times we played standing room only. St. Thomas More one year, standing room only. Peabody 1 year, standing room only. I'll never forget, we get to Peabody about 5 o'clock, and we go into the gym, and we start warming up, and it's 5:30, and it's packed. I'm telling you, you can't even sit nobody else in the gym at 5:30. Game was at 7, and I shot a ball, and the basketball rolled to the bleacher area. So I go walk over to get it, and one of the guys, Peabody fan, has the ball. Hey, what's up, man? Where's the team at? And I said, man, I looked behind me, and I said, man, we're right there warming up. He said, nah, man, the varsity. So he was already on his talking trash or whatnot, and believe it or not, that night my sophomore year, we beat Peabody by 17 points at Peabody. I think the worst loss in the history of Peabody. If you know anything about Louisiana and Peabody basketball, nobody goes to Peabody and wins. You probably can't count on your hand 10 fingers them losing 10 home games in the history of the school. So as soon as that buzzer went off and we beat them by 17, Hobart knows me. If you don't know me, I went and looked straight for that guy. Where you at? And he had already exited the building. He was out of there. We came in and had a great game plan that year, and was able to beat Peabody. Great matchup. Back in the day when I played in high school, it wasn't the power ranking system. If you were first place in this district, you might have played a wild card team. Well, the second round, you might have played the number one team in the state, which happened for us in Peabody each year. They were number one, we were number 2 or 3, or vice versa the next year. We always matched up 2 years in a row, second round in the playoffs, which made for a great game, but it also, hurt a team, in my opinion. We were able to beat them both years, but they should have been in the top 28 too. If it would have been a power ranking system, Peabody would have been on one side, we would have been on the other side. But it's kind of how it matched up. And it's funny, once I got into coaching, I can't beat Peabody as a coach. And I let Coach Smith know that all the time. Every time we played him when I was at Opelousas and he would drum us by 20, 30 points, I said, don't forget, Coach, I'm still undefeated as a player against you. And he laughs. He knows it's all in. Me and Coach Smith go way back, good friends. Several Peabody players, they all used to sleep in my house during the summer times. We played a lot of AAU basketball together. Reggie Rambo, Kedrick Williams, Rashid Smith. And that's how that's just how much respect that we have for Peabody and Coach Smith. And I just think that STM, Danny Broussard and Peabody, Coach Smith match up in that Cajun Dome this coming year would be great. And then we just match up any other teams that really, you can't just be anybody. You might have a great team, but if you don't bring no fans to the game, we're not asking you to come to the Cajun Dome. We got to get our money back. We got to sell tickets. For example, this year, Midland, Class B, Class C school, they sold over 200 tickets. Well, best believe we're going to ask Midland to come back every year, and they played against ESA and Cade, another small school. They sold 200 tickets, and it's not all about the ticket sales, but you gotta, you want to have a good team, but also you got to have a fan base that's going to bring people to the Cajun Dome. So this year, look forward to some more great matchups inside the Cajun Dome, which we call the Cajun Dome Classic now. And the whole idea behind the whole thing was just to get maybe a chance to say, hey, well, man, if this regular Joe Blow, Brad Boyd, he can host an event like this back in the Cajun, why the top 28 can't do it? Why the LHSA can't do it? You're talking about centrally located, I-49, I-10 meets right in Lafayette, great food, the best venue to me in the state of Louisiana. Hopefully one day they'll bring it back to the Cajun Dome. But that's two different parties have to come together and, make an agreement and try to work it out. And sometimes that's easier said than done when kind of, ruffle the water under the bridge like that. It's not always easy to come back to the greatness you had, So, it's no disrespect to them, the LHSA or anything, or the Cajun Dome. They just, they got to sit down one day and hopefully, work it out to get it back there. But we're still going to have the Cajun Dome Classic every year in the Cajun Dome, looking for great matchups. 2-3 years ago when we had the Opelousas High North Central game, go to triple overtime with Derek Tesno from North Central and I can't think of the kid's name from Opelousas that was so good. They both had really
the Williams kid.
Yeah, Williams kid, Alfonso's son, but also Jonquarius McGee, Jigga. He was really good for them. Signed with Nichols that year. Tesno signed with Stephen F. Austin that year. Just great matchups. So that's what we really look for: great matchups, rivalry matchups, stuff like that. That's going to get people interested in coming watching great basketball inside the Cajun Dome. We've even extended it this year. People, were so excited this year. We even extended this year to junior highs. We had 2 junior high games, 8th grade matchups where, people were so excited because their little Johnny in the 8th grade or little Timmy or whoever it was got to play in the Cajun Dome. And I couldn't imagine, man, if I was in middle school and they, my team got to play in the Cajun Dome, I just know how excited I would have been. So that's another thing. I didn't have to do that. That's a money cost. That's adding 2 more games that costs way more money to do. But I felt like, hey, man, if I was a kid and somebody, could have given me an opportunity to play in the Cajun Dome as a 7th, 8th grader, and now I have the ability to do that for the next kid, I'm going to do it 10 times out of 10, and I'm going to do it again this next year, So it's been a really good thing. Be our 5th year running. And, just something that once again, Hobart, just like the camps, just like the website, the AAU, the biddy, you have to do the first one. Once you do the first one, you roll on to the next one and try to make it better.
I need you to send Gonzales Middle School out of Gonzales, Louisiana, an invite this year, man. I guarantee you they have a great fan base. Their head coach, Dwayne Andrews, he's won about 12, 13 middle school championships in the Ascension Parish area. Team is always going to be hardworking, well-disciplined. And again, they're going to sell some tickets, man. So
definitely going to look into that for sure.
And he'll compete against anybody. Some years he can beat freshman teams. No, it's real spill.
I believe it.
Real spill.
I believe it.
They have a great crop of kids that come through Gonzales Middle to shed on to EA. We can make it an Ascension versus Acadiana, since Donaldsonville.
Yeah. Well, we have a really good team out here right now too at Bell Place, man. All those kids are going to be 8th graders next year, made up of that 5-star elite AAU program that they're going to be one of the top 8th grade teams in the state of Louisiana next year. So we definitely have Bell Place in it. We're just trying to figure out an
Middle is it, man.
For them to play. There you go. That could be it. Bell Place and Gonzales Middle. I know Acadian Middle is going to be really tough too with my guy Tavian Gallion, who's over there. He's going to be a good player. So too, we need 4 teams. We know we got Bell Place and Hobart's talking me into getting Gonzales Middle, and I think Acadian Middle is going to be the 3rd team. We maybe need 1 more team to fill that second game of the junior high Cajun Dome Classic.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Brad, it's always a pleasure, man. Anything
Always.
We can do here for you to help extend and expand the Brad Boy basketball brand. We're a phone call away. We appreciate all that you do in the Acadiana region. Lot of great kids in that area. A lot of great kids. Lot of.
Yep. I always have to say this too, Hobart. Anytime you bring me on too, you always showing me love and praise, and man, I appreciate it so much. Our relationship over the years has grown into a, I consider you a good friend, regardless if you moved to
did not.
Atlanta or
I
wherever
did
you
not
are
move
now,
to Atlanta, man.
come into, living abroad, But like I've always told you, man, the thing that you created with Off the Bench Sports has been great. I'm super happy and fired up that you're coming. Like, not that you left, that you're coming back, and you're let's go, man. Anything you need on my end to keep these interviews going, to keep it rolling, because more publicity, more awareness of the state of Louisiana and youth sports and high school sports, which you have been bringing to the table with Off the Bench Sports. You can't ask for nothing better than that, So that's why anytime you ever need something from me, Hobart, Off the Bench Sports needs a interview or anything like that, I'm always, I don't think I've ever turned you down one time. I've always said, hey, let's do it. It benefits both people. You got to share a little bit about Brad Boyd, and at the same time, you're getting that Off the Bench, brand out there and rolling again, man. And just keep
it's
it
a
up,
process
man,
of mental health, Brad. If your mental health is bad, everything you do is probably going to be bad, because you're not clear, conscious minded enough to make the proper decisions you need to make in life. And so I went through a traumatic situation, a traumatic experience. And so I needed to do something for me. And it was all about me. It wasn't about anybody else. It was all about me. And so at the end of the day, love me or hate me, we're not going anywhere. We're fighters. I'm building up a team to come back bigger, stronger, better. And yeah, so I'm ready to kick somebody in the balls again.
Well, you always been ready like that, Hobart.
No,
Ever since I know you, always stay ready.
The best way to impose change is to go straight forward. The best way to impose change is to go straight forward at someone, and don't be, live without fears, without borders, and without boundaries. And when you can do that, you build Brad Boyd basketball. And my challenge is different because I'm different. But that doesn't mean that I have to be feared or afraid to step out and build what I'm trying to build, even with all the people that are trying to create roadblocks for me. You can't stop what God built.
Yeah.
You can't stop what God put in someone's heart to be. My only issue, Brad, is I've loved this thing so much, is that I wish I would have started 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So, hey, it's always a pleasure, bro.
Always, man. A few shout outs, man, before I go, man. Shout out Acadiana Biddy Basketball, AcadianaStars.com, Brad Boyd Basketball, BradBoydBasketball.com, and coming soon for all your B3 logo apparel, B3thelogo.com. And then people say, what, B3 the logo? Well, Brad Boyd Basketball, B's, 3 B's, B3, what you know Brad Boyd for, shooting 3-pointers. So we linked it all together, man. B3thelogo.com, BradBoydBasketball.com for all your basketball needs and apparel. Check out both those websites. As always, Hobart, thank you as well to Off the Bench Sports for always showing love to Brad Boyd and my family and everything we do with basketball, man. And that's just
watch
that's just
this,
what it is.
Watch
Appreciate
this.
the love.
This is not a paid interview. Thank you. Remember, get off the bench, get into the game.